Hey, travel nerds, Kenny and Connor Ann here today. We are going to actually run through a presentation Kenny and I are giving across Texas this week. We're super excited, and it's all going to be about AI. So we thought we'd make a podcast episode about it, giving you all the same information that we're going to tell at the conference. And if you were at the conference and you wanted to give it another listen, it's a good place to listen to it here. Take it away.
All right, awesome. First, hello, everyone. We're so excited to be here today. Let's start off with a quick round of introductions. My name is Kenny Totten. I'm one of the co-founders of a travel tech company that specializes in booking travel for meetings and events. And today, I have my wonderful co-host, my partner in crime, Connor Ann Waterman, here with me.
Hi, yes, that's me, Connor Ann Waterman. I'm the Director of Brand and Partnerships at AllFly, and our company uses artificial intelligence every day, both in our products and our workflows. So we're super excited to talk to you about AI today and hopefully answer the big question, the million-dollar question: is AI going to be a friend or foe? Is it going to take jobs in the meetings and events industry or just make people more effective and productive?
So basically, our job over the course of the next 30 minutes is really to do two things. First, we want to convince you that AI is actually going to be your friend and not your foe. Second, we want to give you some skills to walk away with, right? So we would love if at the end of this, we've taught you 2 to 3 actionable things that you did not know before that will make your life easier due to AI. Now, in this next section, we're going to talk about what amazing use cases that are happening right now today. Now, most people hear AI and they think Google Bard or ChatGPT, and you're right. Those are the 2 big players in the room. They're the most visible. But AI is so much more than that.
If you don't know about this already, it's going to blow your mind. So basically, voice cloning is one of the newest features that AI has to offer. And I may or may not have made a little voice cloning today for you guys, but this is basically think bigger picture, right? Think customer service. So our team is looking into making AI travel agents that could call the airline on our behalf and perform a whole host of functions. We wanted this AI agent to have a voice, and rather than pay a voice actor, we always have, endless episodes of Travel Nerds, over 60 now, to pull my voice from. So check this out. Hello, beautiful SITE Texas people. We're happy to have you here today. I thought I'd start us off with a joke. I was preparing for my speech today, and I started to think about how much we all have in common. For example, none of us know what I'm going to say. I'm not sure if you've heard, but public speaking is my second favorite thing to do. My first favorite thing is to avoid public speaking. Oh, I'm just kidding. Although this is my first quote-unquote speech, Lord knows I love to talk. If only someone would take me out of this AI software and bring me into the real world. Okay, so obviously that's hilarious. It's not perfect, and it's going to get way better in the future, but we think this is going to have insanely big implications in the customer service area. This is just the first inning of technology. So there will be a day when it becomes hard to distinguish if you're talking to an AI or a real-life human being.
Con, what was that movie with Scarlett Johansson where she was an AI?
Oh, you're thinking of the one where she's a computer and he falls in love with the computer. I was thinking of Lucy, which is also Lucy. Crazy. But that's more of like a, well, I guess it's AI. I was like, is it more superpowers? But it's basically about how humans only utilize 10% of their brains. So she has the capability to do crazy superpower stuff because she can access more of her brain. Anyway, that wasn't even what you're talking about. But yes, her, where the man falls in love with, his computer, his Siri.
Yeah, that was Siri before Siri, I think, too. Okay, anyway, we digress. All right, I have another super interesting future use case. If you're listening to this and you have a pet, you're going to love this. So Connor and I are both dog parents. Here's a picture of 2 of them. Matt, go ahead and put Pippa and Tuna on the screen. Pippa is on the left. She's mine. And Tuna is on the right. That's Connor's dog. Now, when we do this live, we are going to ask for a show of hands of who thinks the golden is cuter. Naturally, the golden will win out and Connor will feel bad, but
totally unfair.
Totally
it's unfair to do a poll. People love golden retrievers just as a nation.
It's America's dog.
God. All right, continue.
Yeah. All right. So there's something really cool happening in the world of artificial intelligence, and AI is really good at its core at crunching data and analyzing patterns, right? It just does so much faster than we can possibly do so. There's a team of researchers in Scotland that put dogs into an MRI machine and played a video. Now, they did the same thing with two human beings. Now, the machine mapped out the brain's electrical reaction to the visual stimuli, the video, right? Now, what they found was really interesting. Humans and dogs process the world very differently. Now, they used a machine learning algorithm called IVIS and applied IVIS to the data. Now, IVIS was first trained on human subjects, and the model was 99% accurate in mapping brain data onto both the object and action classifiers. So what does this mean, like dumbed down for a fifth grader? Basically, the AI was very good at understanding that humans are very good at classifying an object, like that's a tree or that's a bicycle, and classifying actions. So I stood up or I started running. The AI was good at saying like, that's running, right? Now, in the case of the dogs, the model did not work for the object-based classifier. So the dog didn't understand what a bicycle was or what a mailbox was.
Of course not.
Yeah, poor Fido, right? However, the interesting part was it was between 75 and 88% accurate in decoding the action classifiers in the dog MRI scans. So basically what this means is that we humans are very object oriented, right? And then that makes sense because there's about 10 times as many nouns as there are verbs in the English language. And because we have a particular obsession with categorizing the world and naming objects, dogs appear to be way less concerned with the who or the what, and they are very much concerned with the action on their visual stimuli, so the action in their field of view. And being that dogs see in shades of blue and yellow, they have a slightly higher density of vision receptors designed to track motion. So what does all of this mean? If you boil it all down to the nuts and bolts, it means that with time, we will be able to map Sweet Pippa's reaction and Sweet Tuna's reaction to how they think, and maybe even use brain scans to decipher their thoughts. So because of AI, it's putting us on a path of one day that we will be able to read our dogs' minds, and they may be able to talk back to us. Now, if Pippa and I can communicate using the English language one day, I want to ask her about this incident. All right, so if you're just listening, on the screen right now is Connor walking Tuna into the pool. This is Tuna's first time in the pool, and lo and behold, Pippa sees this. Tuna is going for his first ever swim, and what does Pippa do? Leaps from the side of the pool, jumps on top of Tuna, sinks him to the bottom of the pool, and Tuna body slam, and Tuna pops back up and basically is scared to death. And now we don't know if he'll ever be in a pool for the rest of his life because my poor dog traumatized him. And if I can somehow talk to Pippa like how you and I talk, Connor, I would love to ask her what was going through her mind and why did she do that? Because she does jump on people when they're splashing around a lot. And I want to know, what is that about?
Vengeance was clearly going through her mind. Overall, I think it was good for Tuna. I think it toughened him up a little bit. He's a little bit of a sissy. So, oh my God, he just heard me say that. Oh no, he's looking right at me. Anyways, okay, away from the dogs and into another really cool use case. So AI is about to give the medical field straight up superpowers. And this one is pretty near and dear to my heart. So there was a big study. AI-supported mammogram screening increases breast cancer detection by 20%. 20%. When we're talking saving lives here, that's unbelievably massive. Researchers looked at scans from more than 80,000 women in Sweden who underwent a mammogram between April 2021 and July of 2022. Half of the women were assigned to a group in which AI read the mammogram before it was analyzed by a radiologist, and the other group's mammograms were read by two radiologists without the use of AI. All the radiologists in the study were highly experienced, very, very qualified. And listen to this. This is nuts. The group whose scans were read by a radiologist along with AI had 20% more cancers detected than the group whose mammograms were read by two radiologists without technical assistance.
Wow.
Whew! I mean, think of the way this can just change the entire world as we know it.
That's
So,
1 in 5. That's crazy.
1 in 5. How important is this? Whenever we question whether AI is good for humanity or not, you cannot question it in this sense. Obviously near and dear to my heart because I lost my mom to triple negative breast cancer in 2020. Still feels like yesterday. And my mom went in for mammograms every year, like every other woman is told to. And she had 4 tumors by the time they diagnosed her. So they
Wow.
predicted she must have had it roughly a year before knowing, which is super scary that you can just live with it unbeknownst to you. And can I confidently say she would still be here if she got an AI supported mammogram? No, of course, I can't say that. It would also be super unfair to do that to myself. But she was the most important thing in my life. So anything that could have given her more of a chance would have been welcomed wholeheartedly. In 2020, there were 2.3 million women diagnosed with breast cancer. I'm going to say that again.
Wow.
There were 2.3 million women diagnosed with breast cancer in 1 year globally. And this accounts for 25% of all cancer cases worldwide. So ruminate on that number, think about how astonishing it is, and imagine the impact AI can have on this number. In this use case, how can AI be anything but a friend?
I don't know how I'm going to follow this one, but looking at these pictures, if you're just listening to this on audio, I would definitely go over to YouTube or Spotify where we do have the video because Connor and her mom look like twins. It's kind of remarkable. Man, geez. All right. So let's transition to the current state of artificial intelligence. When most people hear AI, they think Chat GPT, and for good reason. Chat GPT is the OG. It's the Snoop Dogg. It's the Dr. Dre. It's like the original gangster, right? It took the world by storm, and it was the fastest growing app ever in the history of technology. Now, the second most popular chat-based AI interface was created by Google, and it's called Bard. Google was not going to let OpenAI come and steal its lunch. It was going to play ball, and Google's been working on AI for years. So they were second to release, but sometimes the second or third player is the one that wins, as you see in like Apple, right? Apple didn't make the first computer, but they made the best one. So both platforms are based on large language models and both receive updates weekly and sometimes monthly. And if we watch this talk in 6 months, a good portion of what we say today will be outdated. It's the one bad thing about commenting on AI is that you comment and then things change and it's so fast. So for sake of just putting our flag in the ground, today is September 17th. And if you're listening to this in the future, don't take anything that we say or take everything that we say with a grain of salt. Now, let's get down to brass tacks. So both of these products, they excel at different things. Let's start with the new kid on the block, Google's Bard. Bard is connected to the internet and it's connected to all of Google's services. So it has a wide range of data at its fingertips. So if I ever want to know something that's more current events focused, or I need to pull from real data, especially in the travel industry, Bard is where I start. Bard also has the ability to get flight data, hotel data, and car rental data in real time. So Bard is the travel industry's best friend. However, this doesn't mean that ChatGPT is a chump, right? ChatGPT is amazing at some things, and we're going to get into those. When it comes to reasoning or creativity, we found that ChatGPT can be a little bit more performant. And then when it comes to access to real data, obviously Google steals the show here. So we're going to throw up a chart now of a kind of a comparison of the two platforms. You can go ahead and read it. And then if you're not on YouTube, get on YouTube or Spotify again. So we're going to transition into the meat of the presentation here. I would like you to stop and consider this. Basically, we could use AI in one of two ways. People use AI as a database or as a reasoning engine. So if you were to use it as a database, that would go something like this. Tell me how many cows are in the world, or chickens, or pigs. That's just going into the AI's knowledge base and pulling out data, right? So it's basically acting as a database. Now, the other side of the coin would be is if you asked the AI to help you reason through some things. So AI can be a terrific reasoning engine. So an example of that would be, I have a client who wants to plan an offsite for 50 people. They want to go somewhere that has a unique culture, warm weather, and a major airport. They're looking to travel in February or March of 2024, and they would like somewhere warm, nowhere cold. Can you give me the top 3 locations? Now, the AI will come back and give you 3 or more awesome choices, and then you'll be off and running. So with that said, Connor, take it away.
Let's give you some actionable skills, right? So the promise of AI is only going to be as good as you are. So in order to get the best out of the AI, you need to learn how exactly to talk to it. It's kind of like talking with Kenny in that way. You need to know exactly how to phrase things, be very precise for it to understand.
Funny, Connor.
Okay, so here is a popular framework that's easy to understand for everybody. The framework is called RTP, and it stands for role, task, and prompt. So basically, give it a little bit of context, ask what you need it to do, and then tell it how you want to receive that information. So let's use this framework to create something that a meeting planner may use in the meetings and events world. So let's run through a full example of a fully baked prompt, and the more you type in, the more you'll get out of the AI. So let's just say you type into Google Bard or ChatGPT, I would like you to act as a meeting planner who's interested in gathering data for a client. Fantastic. You're giving it context about how you need it to respond. Now give it a task. Can you give me the amount of passengers these 5 airports can handle? Can you also give me the number of direct flights each airport has from these 3 airports? And then your format would be, show the data in a table, please. Always say please, because you just never know when AI is going to take over. So always say please.
You always want to be nice. I've been saying please to Alexa, to Siri, to anything that has a little LLM underneath it. I want to be on the good side.
I won't even correct them when they're wrong anymore. I'm like, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
That one was for the meeting planners. This one is going to be for the hoteliers. Did you guys know that AI could read contracts? Now, here is one thing that I will say that ChatGPT does a little bit better than Google. So here's how it works. In the ChatGPT paid version, there's a plugin called Ask Your PDF. So you first have to convert your PDF to a URL, which is fairly easy. There's a bunch of online tools that do this for you. And then once you do that, you upload the link into ChatGPT, and it will read the entirety of the PDF, and it will understand it. So from there, you can ask it questions. You can say, can you summarize this? So what we did as a little thought experiment for this presentation is, for work, we have our standard MSA, which every client signs. Well, I shouldn't say every client. There's like 1 out of 10 that have over-ambitious legal teams, and they redline stuff, which is annoying, but most people just sign it dead away. Now,
but we understand.
We understand, wink, wink, right? But the really cool thing is, after the AI understood the contract, you can ask it a bunch of stuff, which I think is where life gets interesting. So not only does it summarize a really big piece of text and boils it down, which is useful, right? But I was also able to ask it questions. So the question that I asked it was, are there any standard terms inside of this contract that are not normal for a travel tech company? And we do have 2 inside of our MSA. I won't say what they are, because then I'm just going to get more red lines. But we have two terms that are a little bit atypical or different. One of them, fine, I'll come clean. One of them is, we do ask that we're able to use the company's logo in marketing materials. We've only had one company redline that out, which I thought was like, whatever. The second one is, we have a different deposit structure, and the AI pointed that out, that that's not typical and that could cause friction. So it was really cool that this thing basically acted as a $20 a month lawyer that has all of the world's contract law in its head, and then was able to analyze it and give you feedback in real time. I thought it was super useful. And anyone that deals with contracts on the regular, I would urge you that this is a skill that you want to learn how to use.
Fantastic. Think about how long it would take you to read a 400-page contract, pop it in there, tell it to give you a 1-page summary. I mean, This would have been really helpful for me in school. It's too bad that I'm old. So in the spirit of saying that Google Bard knows everything under the sun, it's also fantastic at finding excursions and activities on these trips you may be embarking on. So a good use case could be, I prompted Bard with find me 4 activities for a group of 60 people taking a work trip to Punta Cana. This would be from the use case earlier of me saying I'm a meeting planner, has a little idea of what I need to do. That's my task. Find me 4 activities for these amount of people. And then you could say, show it to me in a list as the format. And basically it pops out something in sub 5 seconds. It recommends a day trip, a cruise, a zip lining adventure, a rum factory tour. And then if you wanted to get a little more specific, you could always say, give me activities that don't include water, or give me activities for people that are afraid of heights. They wouldn't go ziplining. So it is really cool how it can spit out something. They can all be fantastic ideas, and you can personalize it to your trip and your traveler's needs.
That's a really cool one. Would you use it to like plan a vacation? Have you done that yet?
I have. Whenever me and my girlfriends went to Cape Cod, we got to like see a couple of cool things that we wouldn't have done without using AI. And it came from, in theory of this chat, it came from a lot of prompting. So saying, find me something cool to do in Cape Cod. It's going to spit out the top 10 things TripAdvisor does. But if you say we're 4 girls, we want to have fun, we don't want to do anything too touristy, like you got to prompt the heck out of this thing. But after you give it as much information as you can, it really will spit out something perfect for you. So,
yeah, I think that these conversational AI platforms, they are a lazy person's nightmare, right? Because you can't just type in a simple sentence and then it do all this magic. You really find yourself writing and setting it up more. And I think that's really what the RTP framework is really, it boils down to. The AI needs more context, and because it's not connected to your brain yet, it doesn't understand what you like or who you are, or it doesn't have your knowledge base. So you have to do extra work in basically bringing all of that to life and surfacing that. So pretty cool.
But what's cool too is that if you don't have it in you, if you are feeling a little lazy and you do give it just a one-liner, you can kind of chit chat back and forth with it. So it's not just like one Google search, which is cool. I could say, give me activities in Punta Cana. It could pop it out. And then I could say, give me restaurants nearby activity number 1. And it could spit them out. And then you could follow up with saying, I'm a vegan, so take out the restaurants that don't offer vegan options. Like, it's pretty cool how you can chit chat back and forth with it too. So it's not just like one and done. If your prompt sucks, you're screwed. You can keep going and keep personalizing it as you go.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, last one, and then we'll get off of the Chat GPT Bard thing. So this is pretty cool. Now, this is in the realm of like uploading a document. And I know that in the beginning of the presentation, we were basically saying like Chat GPT is going to be your friend, but there are some people that it's going to be their foe, and a data scientist is one of them. So one of the really cool things that Chat GPT can do in the paid version is there's this plugin called Code Interpreter, and it's a little bit of a misleading name, but basically you can upload data. It reads and analyzes the data, makes sense of it, and then you can ask questions contextually based on the data. So this is kind of replacing the job that a data scientist used to do, and it happens instantly and for $20 a month. So you no longer have to pay the data scientist $150,000 a year to analyze and crunch the data. The AI does it in real time and sometimes more accurately with better insights than a paid professional. So I know we said friend, but there's going to be some casualties in this transition, just like there is with every major
evolution.
Yeah.
Technological.
Yeah, whatever that word is, in the big shift, there's gonna be some blood that gets spilled. But yeah, it seems that the big trend is as technology gets better, it usually pushes humanity forward.
Couldn't agree more. So this is our tool forecast. If you're just listening and not watching, you can skip ahead 30 seconds. But basically how it works is it's our trip budgeting tool. So you can pop in a destination you're trying to cross compare to another. And within seconds, you can see what that estimated program cost is going to be for your airfare. So we're going through here. You can pop in the different departure cities and how many people you expect out of each city. You can add up until 30, which is fantastic. And if you're not positive where people are coming from, you can do estimated fare averages based on domestic and international. Then you're going to run the report. It'll spit out your estimated program cost. It is padded by about 5%. So when your clients book, they are pleasantly surprised. And it's going to give you airport insights like airlift, average on-time arrival, amount of daily passengers. It's going to show you a little map right here, connecting your destinations to your locations. And then at the bottom, it's going to itemize your city pair route. So it's going to show you how much that median main cabin fare is going to be from each city. And then you pop down to the bottom, hit edit meetings estimate. You can do the same thing again, just change the location, and it's going to save all of your information and pop out another estimated program cost. So you could technically cross compare 10 cities in less than 2 minutes.
And you can find it on allfly.io under the products section, and just click products and navigate down to forecast. So this is my last one here. AI, if you haven't read the book, Never Split the Difference, first of all, I do want to sandwich a book recommendation into this podcast and into this talk. Never Split the Difference was one of the most interesting and most impactful books that I have ever read. And if you're watching, again, there's going to be this guy, Chris Voss, on the left-hand side of your screen. Striking gentleman, about 60 years old, and he is with his girlfriend who can't be a day over 25 and is smoking hot. Incredible. So you know this guy is smooth and he can talk the talk, and he negotiated her into his life, so he knows what he's doing.
We love this for him.
We love this for him. This guy has outkicked his coverage like no one I have ever seen in my life. But he wrote a fantastic book and he's brilliant. So his name is Chris Voss. He wrote a book, Never Split the Difference, and it is all about how to negotiate and really how to build rapport with people through listening and reflecting and some actionable skills. Highly recommended. But the book makes you a better negotiator. And I would argue that it makes you just a better listener, a better friend, better partner.
And just to clarify, Chris Voss is the top hostage negotiator on earth. We're not talking hostage situations here today, but you can learn a lot from this guy.
If you don't have time to read the book, he also has a masterclass, but you don't have to read the book because AI can actually negotiate on your behalf. So something really cool that we did the other day, and which everyone in the audience can do, because everyone in the MICE industry works with vendors, and vendors often send you contracts and services agreement. So using the skills that we talked about of uploading a PDF, you can upload that PDF of the services agreement, and you can ask the AI, help me negotiate on this contract. And you can ask it things like, what are the key terms that are not standard? Or what are the key terms that I may have a chance negotiating for? Now, we did this at work the other day, and there was this one clause that was attached to money that I thought was a little bit weird of a fee. So I asked the AI, is this a standard industry fee? And it turns out that they were charging us about 30% more. And so we took that back to the vendor, and then they knocked it down. So the AI helped me negotiate and basically save the company money, which was cool.
I would not have opened one book in school. I'm scared for the future, for the future of our youth.
Admittedly, we're like 60 plus episodes in here, and we've done a handful of episodes on AI, and most of it is forward looking and really positive, if you will.
I think I know where you're going with this. Are you talking about the hallucinations?
Yes. So everything positive, but the hallucinations are cause for concern. So what do you know about these?
I know that sometimes, how do I say this? AI can be full of shit. So,
got her.
I don't know. It can be. If you're using one of these services that uses AI, you have to honestly be careful. Have you ever met a teenager? You know, It's like, they can be smart, but unpredictable. They can be impulsive, a little rebellious, and they're clearly still learning, but they act like they know it all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, AI can be exactly like a teenager. And like a teenager, AI has been known to lie or bend the truth. So in the world of artificial intelligence, lying for an AI, it's called hallucinating. Is that a good way of describing it?
Wait, so you're telling me that the AI is out here like doing some mushrooms or other hard drugs?
Well, in its own trippy little virtual world, kinda. The AI sometimes gets fed bad data or gets contextually confused. So when you ask it to perform some type of function, sometimes it will quote unquote hallucinate or give you faulty information, like a teenager. So if you're using ChatGPT or Google's Bard, it's important that you fact check everything. Don't fact check it using another AI. That would be a real rookie move. But basically just make sure that everything checks out.
The interesting thing, and this happened to me the other day, which is why we talked about hallucinations, aka lying. First of all, that's like a pretty sick branding on the AI guys.
Lying.
Like that's great. That's like, hey, I wasn't lying. I was hallucinating.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I may use that one to get away with some stuff with my wife in the future. Yeah. Like, that's not a lie. That's a hallucination. Sorry. Yeah. But it's really, so the other day we actually had this like weird thing where I was asking it for travel data, and it was actually flight prices that I was interested in. And it gave me average flight prices to Orlando for $1,500. Now, Orlando is one of the most affordable and competitive routes in the United States. And I asked it, is this true? And it just basically owned up to it and said, no, this is not true. And then it reran it with the right data. So sometimes it's like just acts drunk or high and it'll just spit out the wrong information, which is kind of interesting.
It literally is like a teenager. You catch them in a lie and you're like, is it true? And they're like, fine, no, okay, it's not. Fine.
Did you lie? Did you lie a lot when you were a teenager?
I want to say yes to make myself sound more mischievous. But to be honest with you, my parents were totally cool with me being mischievous. So I told them everything.
Oh, really? And then I could tell that you're like the whole way through Schitt's Creek because you just channeled Major Alexis when you said mischievous.
I finished Schitt's Creek today for anyone listening that watches that. And I, no joke, cried. I started sobbing. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. I forced Kenny to watch the final episode with me and I cried. So if you're thinking about watching it, God, it was a 12 out of 10 recommend.
Highly recommended.
Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode / presentation. I hope Kenny and I kill our speech next week. And I hope that you learned something. The idea of the whole speech is, do you think AI will be a friend or a foe in the future? I would also love to know what you guys listening to the pod think. I think it's like split down the middle for most people that I ever ask, which I think is a good place for us to be in. I like the idea that we're approaching it with hesitancy, as we should, anything new and big and world changing like this. But, you know, you just like can't deny how much better it's made our lives as we're all attached to our iPhones. But today we went over how we can maybe talk to our dogs one day with AI. Incredible. I hope that's
super
sooner
pumped.
than we think. We talked about how AI can save lives and it's going to give people in the medical field absolute superpowers. We talked about the comparison between Google Bard and ChatGPT. And if you work in the meetings and events industry, we gave you a few pro tips like going over contracts and figuring out hotel rates and airlift and things like that. So I hope you guys learned something today. That is the conclusion of our AI friend or foe speech / podcast / chit chat. And we'll see you next week. Later, nerds.